All right, fellas. It is story time once again. I have got a brilliant story for you tonight. This one is from a website called The Every Girl, of course. And the title of this article is, I'm 31 and still single. Why it's hard and great at the same time. It's probably hard because she can't lock down the high-level guy. But at the same time, she can still run around out there, spread her legs, and have sex on demand. As a female, that's something that just never goes away. But the more sex she has on demand, the lower her value goes, and the more her chances decrease of actually finding a good guy. Because no good guy, no high-caliber guy wants to be with a chick who has slept with hundreds and hundreds of different penises. Nobody wants to be around that. Gross. Disgusting. But let's jump into her story. This is written by Haley Miller. And this one's actually recent. This was just written a few months back. Here she is here, laying out by the pool. What a life. Man, nice pool. Nice hot tub. Okay, let's go into her story. When I was 23 and working at my first job, I made cookies for everyone in the office as part of their holiday gift. Very sweet. I made 7 different types of cookies for each of the 13 employees. And needless to say, the team was impressed with my mad baking skills. And I'd like to think time management skills. When I went to the accounting office, I boldly made the proclamation that I was practicing to be an all-star mom. You know, the mom who makes the best chocolate chip cookies and is super fun. So all the kids would want to come over and play. Now, don't get me wrong. Being a mom wasn't my goal or dream. There were career aspirations. Oh, there you go. Whenever you hear the chick, career aspirations, red flag. That'll tell you right there the chick is not marriage material. Because chicks who become future wives, future great moms, they are not talking about career. That's the last thing on their mind. The only time career comes up is once the kids are fully grown, they're in college, she doesn't really need to be that present anymore, and she's bored. And even then, she's not trying to become a high-level CEO. She's just like looking for something that she was always interested in. Now she has time. Because you know what? No matter how old you get, girls, 9 to 5 ain't going anywhere. But you know who is going somewhere? All these high-level guys that you want. They're not always going to be there. So understand that. Good women do. They're like 9 to 5 ain't going nowhere. But you know what? My ability to get high-level guys is. My looks are. So I better take advantage. Regardless, she goes, there were career aspirations, health goals, and all of the other things that come along with being a type A perfectionist. But the expectation was that all of those things would be accomplished with someone else by my side, with the loving feeling of a family. Well, that was in 2011. Today, I'm certainly not baking cookies for all the kids. In fact, I'm not baking cookies for any kids. When I look back at my childhood self, my high school self, my college self, and even my 5 years ago self, I didn't think I would be writing an article about being single. And I definitely didn't think I'd be living in New York in a shared apartment with the very few things that I own. Instead, I pictured myself married with kids, living in a home, being the most badass cookie baking mom on the block. And you could have been that. All of you chicks over 30, you could have been that. If you know what? You didn't ride the carousel in your 20s, right? You didn't kick all these nice guys in below the belt, I should say, right? If you were just a little more submissive, right? Maybe just not so overbearing, maybe just not so insufferable, not so rude, not so classless, you could have gotten that, right? Because those are the women that get married in their 20s. Women who are submissive, nurturing, giving, love their man, support their man. They're not out there, you know, night clubbing or bar hopping or running off to Europe. on some girls trip. No, they keep their feet at home. This says this in the Bible, fellas. Good women keep their feet at home. So she could have had that, but she chose otherwise, because I always tell these girls, you have two choices in your 20s. Ride the carousel or get married. Okay? Choose. Because if you choose to reject marriage and ride the carousel, guess what? You're going to be riding that carousel for the rest of your life, and it's going to be a very lonely, very empty, vacuous, and vapid lifestyle. Right? A woman without kids, without a family. Talk to these women in their 50s, man, who are much older. You know, they are not happy. At least the ones who will be honest with you. They're not happy. Well, that was in... okay, what does she say here? She goes, oh yeah, well, that was in... oh, okay. She says, whether that was a timeline I gave myself based on idealized expectations, memories of the past, or what I actually wanted, I'm not sure. I think we're constantly evolving as people and coming into our own. And as that happens, what we thought we wanted, sometimes for the wrong reasons, versus what we actually want, becomes a bit blurry. Well, that's thanks to all the feminista brainwashing in society that is, again, telling these women nothing but lies. I have no other way to say it. Nothing but dishonest disinformation, right? I mean, you know, these leftists, they love to fact check the crap out of anybody they disagree with. They will fact check them to no end. If you sneeze the wrong way, they'll fact check the fact you sneeze the wrong way. However, when it comes to feminists and how unhappy they are and how miserable women become when they don't have a man in their 20s, when they don't get married, they don't fact check that, do they? Instead, what do? They just lie to these women. Just lie to them. Just scam them. That's all they're doing. Right? They're just misleading you. That's all they're doing. That's all society does. The only time they get the truth is when they enter the manosphere. That's it. Because we don't lie to these chicks. We tell them the truth. So she goes on to say, let's see here. Is this her laying in this bed by herself? Well, get used to that. Like many, I love the feeling of being in love. I love watching people falling in love. I love the sense of family that comes along with having that person. I always say this drives me crazy, fellas. Why weren't these girls talking like this 10 years ago? When they were in their 20s? Why weren't these girls talking like this? No, they weren't, right? What were they talking about? Hey, girlfriend, did you put on your mini skirt? It's Friday night. Hot new club downtown. Put on the heels. Hot girl summer. Hot girl summer. Yeah. And then when the party's over and everybody has left the stadium and nobody is giving you attention anymore, that's when you're like, I just want to find my forever guy. I just want that guy who's going to love me. Come home to me only. No, you had your chance. And you know what? Good girls, guys, for the record, good girls are not out there clubbing in their 20s. They're not out there partying their asses off. So if you're seeing a girl now, every weekend, she has to run off with her girlfriends out there, you know, to the dance clubs, cut her off. All right, because she's going to end up just like this chick. And then she'll come back around and try to hit you up 10, 15 years from now, like, hello, it's me. I don't want to go clubbing anymore. Sorry for all those times I left you at home while I went and partied and made out with weird pickup artists on the dance floor. I'm not going to do that anymore. I've had my fun. I've had my fun, and now I'm just ready for you and only you. You know, you're like, I'm married. I'm married. I'm married to somebody 10 years younger than you. So, no. That's what you do. But here I am, she says. Here I am. I'm 31, and I've never, and she has a bullet point list. You're going to love this. She goes, I'm 31, and I've never been taken a date to a wedding. Okay, so she's never taken a date to a wedding, been on a date to a wedding, shared an apartment with a significant other, had blowout fights that lead to passionate love-making makeups, had someone to share the details of my workday with, I've never had someone been able to spontaneously grab drinks after work with a guy that I'm not just getting to know from Bumble or Hinge, but a boyfriend. I've never had really difficult conversations and vulnerably open up opened myself up with a man that I'm dating, had my heart broken in my adult years, compromised about life, like where to spend Thanksgiving and Christmas for our families. So she's saying she's never really experienced basically an LTR. That stands for long-term relationship. She's never experienced that. Why? You think because her relationships are just short and meaningless and empty? Could that be why? Like most, like most females her age who are still out there, unmarried, unwed, unattached. Could that be the reason? And as you ladies in a relationship might be thinking, wow, what a dream. I just want to be just like you, girlfriend. The reality is that I've never done any of these things because not only am I single right now, but I've been single for the latter part of the past 8 years. Jeez, 8 years single. Sure, I've had little flings here and there. There you go. There you go. I've had little flings here and there, but nothing that's given me the full invested, committed relationship experience. You know, things like compromise and unconditional support. And I'm going to give you ladies some advice here. If you want a guy to commit to you, stop giving the milk away for free. If you want him to buy the cow and not just lease the cow for free, then don't give him the milk. Okay, I'm telling you this as a professional dating coach. Don't give it to him, ladies. If you want him to stick around, if you want him to respect you, appreciate you, see you more than just an object, don't spread your legs so quickly. A lot of you chicks, I've always said this, these chicks are all going after and banging the same 20% of dudes out there who have no plans on settling down with them, right? Because these chicks are just completely shooting out of their league. They're totally swinging for the fences. They don't want to get a guy who's on their level. If they're a 6, they don't want to get a guy a 6. They want a guy who's a 9. Right? I mean, be realistic. If you're a 6 in looks, ladies, be happy if you even get a guy who's a 7. Just take that guy. If he's cool, if he's nice to you, comes from a good family, has a nice, like, blue-collar job, hey, there you go. There you go. I guarantee that dude's going to come home to you. He ain't going to cheat, right? He's not going to cheat on you. Unreal. During those 8 years, she goes on to say, I've watched friends fall in love, get married, have babies, and while I'm a big believer that you are supposed to be, that you are where you're supposed to be, and that everything happens for a reason, I've started thinking more about my singledom. There goes that word, singledom. Singledom. Sounds like single dumb. There are two sides to every story, right? The good and the bad. Okay, here she is right here. She's not a bad-looking lady, right? She's not a bad-looking woman at all, right? Dress is nice. Nice hair. Nice face. Nice smile. What's the problem? This chick, I guarantee, has guys in her friend zone. I'll tell you that right now. She has dudes in her friend zone from probably multiple races, multiple different age groups, and she has her choice of those guys. You know why she doesn't want them? Because they're just too nice. They just treat me too good. It's always the same story, you know. Hate to bag on her, but that's really what it always boils down to, guys. Okay, I've read so many articles and books empowering single women to own it and why it's actually amazing. That's all well and good, but when you're the single one, it's not always so glam. Exactly. I can't deny that I've always benefited from being single and alone. I've traveled somewhere awesome with almost every single one of my best friends and solo. I've engaged in things I feel passionate about all the time. I'm independent and can hold my own. I love doing things alone. My friendships are many and run deep. I'd like to think I'm pretty self-aware. I get to do what I want when I want. I'm living an amped up version of treat yourself. I spend my time learning new things. I don't fight over the remote. And that's the problem with a lot of these chicks. Once they cross the pendulum of 30 years old, it's like they're really set in their ways, right? And that happens to both sexes, male and female. I'm the same way, right? I'm set in my ways. I'm like, I don't want to be changed at this point. I like who I am. It's taken me a long time to gain this amount of self-awareness, to know who I am. You know, I'm not perfect by any means. I still continue to work on myself, but I like who I am, right? I love my life. And I'm not looking to really do anything that's going, you know, like groundbreaking like I was doing in my 20s, right? Where I was just constantly going, like exploring and adventuring, and I could be pushed in any direction. I was like a sponge. I just wanted to absorb it all. Well, I'm done absorbing it all. I know what I like. I know what I don't like, right? I mean, and these women are the same. And this is why, guys, you know, we need to get with chicks who are younger and more flexible, because we become more rigid as we get older. So we need chicks who are more flexible, who will follow our lead, not try to play tug of war and, you know, like fight us for that lead, right? We need chicks who are going to be like, oh, okay, that's Matt. Like, my girl is 20 years old, right? I don't walk on her. I don't take advantage of her, and vice versa. I mean, she's very mature for her age, right? She grew up with a strong father, two-parent household. So she's not stupid. She's not like one of these idiots coming from a single mom household that I could take advantage of. Right? She's very smart, but yet she's like flexible. Okay, she doesn't have that rigidness that somebody who would be like 20 years older or even 10 years older would have, where it's like my way or the highway. No, she's still in. You know, she's still like, she just goes along with what I like, because she's like, yeah, you're the man. You know, and generally, because we share a lot of the same values and beliefs, and we laugh at the same jokes, we like the same type of food, there's never really a whole lot of conflict there. I mean, she's just so fun to hang out with, and we do the same thing. So, I mean, it's easy, right? Unlike many other relationships I've had in the past, this one has got to be the easiest. So, this chick goes on. I mean, she's basically admitting that she's set in her ways. I mean, and the sad thing is, she's probably going to find herself some beta male who will bend her way. And the fact that he does bend her way, she's just never going to have respect for him, and then she'll probably end up leaving him for somebody with, you know, somebody else. So it's too bad. But at the end of the day, as humans, she goes on to say, we're hardwired to be intimately connected to other people. We're supposed to find companions and fall in love. Exactly. Yes, we are. We're social creatures. We're supposed to do this stuff. There have been studies that show the healthiest people are those who are in relationships. I've seen those studies, and they are true, right? They are true. You know, this is why I'm like, you know, I understand the guys who are like, you know, have gone their own way. They don't want to date chicks anymore. They don't want to take any risk. I get that, but at the same time, you know, you're going to do some mental damage to yourself, just because as humans, we are meant to engage with each other, right? Especially the opposite sex. You know, is it always easy? Absolutely not. But that's just part of the sometimes a mental challenge, right? Sometimes a mental challenge of it all. But that's, you know, we're supposed to be together. Otherwise, you know, God would have made a planet with just men, and he would have made another planet with just women. But he didn't. He put us all together on the same planet. All right. So she goes. Lastly, she goes on to say, so real talk, yeah. Being single can be great, but let's talk about why it's really effing hard to be and how I've learned to manage emotions around, because sometimes it makes me feel really sad. Wondering what's wrong with me. This is probably the hardest part for me. I always think there's something wrong with me. I've been on awful dates where the guy was rude or had expectations of me that I wasn't ready for, like probably taking off your clothes, right? And I left the date feeling like it was me. I've also dated some really amazing guys, you know, the ones that got away. I constantly wonder, how did I let that happen? Hindsight is 20/20. There you go. She admitted, like many women who are over 30 and still single, right? She admitted that she had some guys who got away, right? Got away. That means that they would have been perfect for her. But I mean, these chicks, they're just so blind. These chicks are so blind until it's too late. Until it's too late. And even then, a lot of them just never wake up. So at least I implore her for at least having enough self-awareness to realize that she made a mistake, and you know, and she's admitting how she feels. She's not getting on like TikTok and like, oh yeah, hot girl summer, oh I'm so happy. No, she's like, yeah, this sucks. Right? She's being honest with herself, and that is the first step to healing, and hopefully for her, like finding some guy that she can settle with. You know, that's the best way to put it. You have to settle at that point, sweetie. You got to settle. Plus, the comment when you go home for Thanksgiving from family, how are you still single, doesn't help. Thanks, Jim. I've been asking myself that for the past 8 years. Well, I already have the answer for that. I mean, this chick, if you see her, I mean, she's... Is this her? Yeah. I mean, she's tall. She's got great fashion sense. Looks a little high maintenance here, right? Maybe it's just for the IG, but I mean, she's a good-looking chick, right? So don't give me this hogwash that you can't find a good guy. She goes on to say, I feel embarrassed to tell people I'm still single. It sucks to always be the single one. And when I express when they express their sympathy for me that I haven't found the one, it sucks. Well, yeah, because, you know, and if you have any red pill dudes in your family or red pill women in your family, they might not tell you because they don't want to, you know, burn the bridge with you. But they're thinking that your problem is what we in the red pill community already know, is that you have shiny object syndrome. And you need to get off your high horse, and you need to come back down to earth. Okay, dating takes energy, she says. Dating can be really fun until it's not. Looking for the one at 31 is a commitment. Yeah, dudes, it's a lot of work. You guys who do dating apps, isn't that a lot of work? This is why I tell you guys, man, get off the dating apps. Get into 7 months of mastery. Quick plug. Either way, right? I do in-person cold approach, and that is the absolute best way. I see a cute girl, I just go for it. I mean, these days, now I'm with my girl, so I just take students out and I help them do it, right? And I don't cheat on her or anything. Like, she's even showed up to a few boot camps, but she lets me do my job, you know. And I'm in abundance anyway. I've dated enough beautiful women. It doesn't bother me. I'm like, I let a few go, or I give them to students or even friends of mine. But I mean, it's so easy. It's so easy. A lot of my students are just blown away at how quick I'm able to get them girlfriends. And they'll be like, I've had students go, man, I was online for 15 years. 15 years I was online. I went out with you on one boot camp and I met my girlfriend. You know, it's like, dude, because you need to get offline. Right? You need to get offline and talk to girls in person. So I've had a number of those success stories, as well as guys who've gotten married and guys who were formerly online that once they learned my methods and got a hold of my stuff and jumped into mastery. Some of those guys, more recent guys, they were able to get the girl, right? And they met these girls offline. Because when you do online dating apps, man, it's a ton of work, guys. You're just there constantly swiping away. Well, you're at work swiping away, hoping nobody sees you while you're at your cubicle, or you're on the forklift swiping away, hoping you don't run into the wall at the Home Depot you work at. You're just swiping away, But when you do cold approach, boom, it's quick. You see a cute girl, you know what to say, you know what to do, boom, it's done. Okay, it's just a little more fearful. I'm not gonna lie, right? You just have to have more balls, but you get more confident the more experience you get and the more you know. That's why I tell you guys, get in 7 months of mastery. You'll be a lot more confident about walking up to complete strangers. Click the link below. All right. It means online dating, not curling up in your bed every night, and a lot of bars. Exactly. Exactly. That's what she's doing. She's spending all of her nights going on these dating apps and swiping, and she can't just lay in bed and relax. She has to keep swiping because she's single. As much as I love going out and being social, I am a creature of comfort. I love taking care of someone and curling up at home. But that's not really an option when you're single and want a relationship. No, you got to get out there. Because, you don't have much choice. Especially over 30. It's confusing. I go out on a lot of great dates with awesome guys. I think a first date should be a pretty easy one. You're just getting to know each other and have a lot to talk about. Exactly, yeah, something light. Don't go to dinner, just do like a quick coffee or something like that. Or go for a walk. I like to take these girls on Insta dates after I pick them up. Just because I don't want to waste my time, right? It's like I picked her up, I thought she was cute, thought she looked good just standing there, and I'll even tell her that if I do a direct approach. I'm like, hey, saw you standing over there, just want to say hi, my name is Matt, what's your name? Julie. Nice to meet you, Julie. Hey, I don't have much time, I have to meet some friends in a bit, but I saw you, and wanted to talk to you and get to know you, and just start running amok there and start talking to her. And then if she has a few minutes, I'll be like, hey, there's like a Starbucks right there. If things are going well in your approach, I'll be like, there's Starbucks. You want to go grab a coffee with me real quick? You got a couple of minutes, like 2 seconds. And then the chick will usually come and we can bang it out there. And I mean, I would say probably most of the time I'm pretty good with, once I approach a girl, I know like it's on. And I'm going to be attracted to her and we have a connection. But I mean, sometimes you just don't know till you approach. And like 20% of the time, I'm not always right. And then I go to a coffee with a girl and I realize like I'm not really attracted to her as much as I thought I was. Like the last girl I approached, the last girl I approached, where I took her on an Insta date. I saw her at like in a grocery store. I was at a Safeway. I was in the Bay Area, and she was probably about like 20. I think she was like 19 or 20. It's around the time I met my girl. So I was like trying to build up my dating rotation, and I saw her, and I just started talking to her, and then I was like, man, this chick is so hot. She's young. She's hot. And it wasn't until I got her to sit down with me, like we went to a Starbucks. It was a couple of, like, less than a block away. It was at the next street over at the strip mall. Sat there, and I was looking at her and talking to her. I noticed, like, some weird kind of just mannerisms about her that was turning me off. And then, I looked down at her. I think, her, how do I say this without being, like, sounding like I'm, like, a foot guy, but... her feet were a little gnarly, and I was just kind of turned off. And I just said, okay, well, it's nice meeting you. And, and she was just like, oh, you want to exchange numbers? Or, do you want to follow each other on social media at least? And I'm like, I don't really use social media. Like, I have one for my business account, but I didn't really tell her what it's about. I'm like, I have one for business, but I'm like, just give me your number. I'll hit you up, And of course, I never did. But, I mean, you don't know these things until you talk to the person. And this was probably all done within 30 minutes. I met this girl, saw her, thought I was like, ooh, I'm going to add her to my dating rotation, and thought she could potentially be a girlfriend. And I was like, she was that hot to me when I first saw her, but it was kind of a little bit of cheerleader effect because she was surrounded by a couple other girls that looked hot that she just happened to be around her. And it wasn't until we got to Starbucks and we sat down, I was like, okay, I think I was a little too overzealous there. So let that go. But if that was done online, oh my goodness, this chick would have had, like, I can imagine how amazing this chick probably looked in photos. So on her social media, or if she has a dating app, which she likely does at her age, she's on these dating apps. I'm sure her photos, her profile looks amazing, and I would probably be competing with 1,000 other guys just to get her attention, just to get her out. And even if I was lucky enough to get her out, I'd get her out and I'd be there selling myself to her because she has so many dudes, and I would have put in like weeks of work to try to get her out. And no, here it was just like 30 minutes, done, realized I wasn't interested, and I'm on to the next target. That quick. But online dating, guys, takes up a lot of time. So she closes up to say here that she does go out on a lot of great dates with awesome guys, probably a lot of first dates, I imagine. I think a first date should be pretty easy, she said. But where do you draw the line between emotional and physical chemistry? How much do you need at first? What should you expect when you're online dating? It's hard to decipher your feelings, especially if you start to lose trust in your taste in men. Well, that's what happens when you're out there for way too long, hon. You gotta cash it in. You gotta close it up. Independent. You know what this means? I have become fiercely independent, she says. I have a hard time letting people help me or asking me for help. That's also what happens when you're, you go throughout your 20s without a man. And she goes on to say, I tend to take on too much. With this independence is the ability to do whatever I want, whenever I want, which is both a blessing and a curse. Learning to compromise is a skill. And sometimes I fear that I've lost this ability. And I believe she has. This is why I say most women over 30 are DG, because they can't compromise anymore at that point, right? They've reached a point of no return where it's my way or the highway, right? And they're going to wrestle you for control of that relationship or any decisions you happen to make in that relationship. Something just as simple as where you're going to have dinner, or what you're going to eat that night, or where you're going that weekend. It's just too much work. She goes on to talk about self-love doesn't come easily. Actually, self-love is really hard. Sometimes you want to hug yourself at the end of the day and tell you it's going to be okay. You want someone to love you and tell you that those jeans make you look good and that you deserve the promotion more than anyone else. When you're single, even when you have the best of friends, the security system and unconditional love doesn't exist. So you have to work to build it yourself. And sometimes you just don't love yourself. You're not your friend's priority anymore. She goes on to say, well, that's obvious. At that point, her friends are all married. Your friends are all married, but their husbands and their children are higher priority, as they should be. My friends are seriously the best at making friend time high on their to-do list, but it's hard when they're not available and you have to plan your weekend nights, months in advance. Yeah, because they have families, they have responsibilities. Those kids have recitals. They might have some, Halloween parade at school they got to get ready for. There's taking family vacations together. They have to visit, go to these family reunions. I mean, you're busy once you get married and you have a growing family, right? You're busy. You're just preoccupied with all that stuff. And this is why these women who are married are not ever getting lonely. They're not like, there's constantly something to fulfill them. Whereas for these unmarried chicks that are unattached, they're just constantly out there trying to fill up their time. And most of that time is spent going on these first dates. And sadly, I always tell these girls that if you're still single after the age of 30, you're going to be going on nothing but 95% of the men you meet are just going to be guys you go on first dates with and never see again. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be like having a second job. Okay, that's what it's going to feel like dating beyond the age of 30 as female. It's going to feel like a second job. She talks about loneliness here. Loneliness is on the rise in America, which is ironic because we're so digitally connected. Well, yeah, that's not the same thing. Just like cold approach, it's very different from online dating. There's an inverse relationship between technology and in-person human contact. Being single is really isolating at times, and for me, as I crave something that feels so far out of reach, it heightens the emotions of loneliness like it's never going to happen. You've become guarded. Ever been ghosted? I have. I've been ghosted at every stage in the dating process, and I'm embarrassed to say that I've been a ghoster too. Well, what goes around comes around. In the past 2 years, I've made a commitment to be more open and honest with the people I'm dating, whether it's one date or 5. We're human, and we deserve to be treated with respect. It hurts to think someone might not reciprocate your feelings, only to never hear from them again, and it's scary to think you might hurt someone else. As time goes on, we naturally become a bit jaded by the dating scene, and it becomes even harder to get vulnerable, let loose, and have fun, and get physically intimate. That's why we call him the DG. Don't call him the DG for nothing. So single ladies, how do we deal with the hard emotions that come along with being single when everyone says it will happen when you least expect it? How do we stop hoping our carts will bump into the one at our next trip to Whole Foods? And I have picked up women at Whole Foods, but definitely they've always been in their 20s, man. It's not easy, and I'm certainly not there. We're learning together. For me, it's been a lot of self-reflection. Reading books, forcing myself outside my comfort zone, and letting go of my expectations just a little bit. I know it might seem like a lot of work, but just like relationships are a lot of work, finding the right one can be too. Since we're setting a precedence of honesty, truth, and vulnerability here, yes, I want a relationship. I want the good and the bad, and I want the love, the fights, and the compromise. And guess what? Yeah, I still want to be the badass cookie baking mom. Where was this talk, dear? 10 years ago. I always ask these girls, why weren't you guys saying all this 10 years ago? Why does this have to come after, the looks have gone, after you're no longer in power, and after you've been replaced by a younger, hotter generation of new women come out there, which is now the Generation Z, right? I think we call them Zoomers. Not boomers, but Zoomers. Why does it take you until you're already like post-wall, past your prime, for you to come to this awakening? It's just too late, man. It's just too late, right? I mean, It's sad. It's sad because I see the same story play out over and over, and you guys see it too. Watch my videos. I mean, we see these chicks. It's always the same result when they decide to buy into that feminist lie in their 20s and not lock down the high value guy. So she lastly she says, but there's one last perk. I think I can be an even better badass cookie baking mom and wife because I know me, I like me. I know that no relationship is perfect and no person is perfect, but I hope with time and reflection, the right person will come along. Wait a minute, you just contradicted yourself. I mean, I was cheering her on here for a second because she was coming to a very, very big epiphany where she said no relationship's going to be perfect, no person is perfect, and I mean, you just said it. That's all you need to say. But then she goes on to close up and say, but I hope the right person will come along. You're essentially just contradicting yourself. Now you're saying that you're still going to look for the bigger, better deal. I mean, these chicks will just never learn, man. These chicks will just never learn. But that's her story. I mean, guys, drop your comments below. Let me know what you think about this 31-year-old female being single and sharing her story. I'm happy that she did. And anything that you would like to add that I might have missed in the comments below, please feel free to share. I always love to see you guys in my comments. Always love to read them. So drop those comments below, fellas. And with that said, I'm going to wrap up here. Until next time, this is M from the 33 Secrets. Do not forget to smash that like button right now. Do it now. More importantly, guys, make sure that you hit that notification bell as well so that you're notified whenever I upload a brand new coaching video to my YouTube channel, but also whenever I go live. A lot of you guys have been like, hey, Em, I don't know when you go live. And then I found out the next day you were live and I missed the whole thing. This is why you gotta make sure you hit that notification bell as well for the 33 Secrets so you are notified whenever I do a live stream. And I tend to do these live streams just on the fly whenever I feel like it. Okay, those tend to be the best ones. And on those live streams, you can ask me questions. And I answer a lot of guys' questions for free. So you wanna make sure you hit that notification bell as well. That way you're notified whenever I do a live stream and whenever I upload a brand new coaching video here to my channel. Okay, so make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And for all of you guys who want to support my work and all of this red pill, gold pill, platinum pill content that I'm teaching you even further, the best way to do that is by jumping into my monthly online coaching program, 7 Months to Mastery, where I'm teaching guys just like you how to go out there and approach and close the youngest, hottest, and most beautiful looking women on the planet. I'm talking about 8s, 9s, and 10s, the same exact type of women that myself and all of my coaching students all around the world are constantly and consistently cold approaching and cold closing every single day, every single week, and every single month all over the world. I kid you not. That is how powerful this skill is. Learning pickup, learning game. This is a skill that you can use not only to bring 8s, 9s, and 10s, beautiful women, very attractive women into your life, but it's a skill that you can use in every other aspect of your life. Whether you want to get into better shape, you can game yourself. Whether you want to get a better job, a better career, you could use these skills as well. I was able to get 6-figure corporate jobs with Fortune 100 companies. I beat out hundreds of candidates to get these jobs, all thanks to my pickup and game skills. I was able to build a very successful business using my pickup and game skills, doing what I love. And now here I am acquiring other businesses, negotiating with other entrepreneurs for their businesses and their e-commerce sites and websites, cash flowing sites, using my pickup and game skills. It's like a billion-dollar skill at this point. It's that powerful. Okay, so you can not only use it to gain the lifestyle that you want, beautiful cars, beautiful houses, beautiful women, but you could use it to just take yourself to another level. Okay, that's how powerful this stuff is. So right now, it's only $1 for the entire first month of coaching lessons from me in 7 Months of Mastery. So take advantage of it. It's really easy to get signed up. all you need to do is click that link below. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds. And like I said, it's the best way to support me in what I'm doing here. So if you want to support me, that's the best way to do it. Jump into 7 Months of Mastery. It's only $1. Click the link below. Take you over to my website and you can get signed up right now. It takes 2 seconds. So do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video. Signing out with the DeLorean. So many of you guys are like, hey, why are you always traveling? Shoot at home, shoot at home. So here I am shooting at home, but I'm about to travel in about a week, so I'll be gone for a month. So trying to shoot as many as at home as possible, so you guys stop asking me this question. Like, shoot more at home. Why are you always traveling? That's what you do when you live the life. You travel, you live it like a rock star.